Think for a second. How do you picture hell? Do you see fire? Devils with pitchforks? Different levels of punishment for different bad deeds? The amazing thing is the clear, organized picture you have in your mind, the one that scared people for hundreds of years, didn't come from the Bible. It came from the wild 3-day vision of one ordinary drinking, flirting Irish rich man back in the middle of the 12th century. The year is 1149 AD. An Irish knight named Tundale, who was famous for parties, not prayers, suddenly drops into a deep sleep. 3 days later, he wakes up, covered in cold sweat, with a story so terrifying. This wasn't just any story. This vision became a detailed fear map for the mind. Today, we're going deep into Tundale's terrifying experience that became the biggest horror story of the Middle Ages. We'll show you the surprising layout of this hell, the exact ways people were punished for their sins, and how Tundale's nightmare gave ideas to the world's most famous poem about the afterlife, Dante's Inferno, 150 years before it was written. You are about to learn how one man's almost death trip drew a map of the spiritual world for everyone. But first, we must ask, was Tundale's bad, wild life the exact reason he was chosen for this scary tour? Our main character is Tundale, a rich common man living in Cork, Ireland. Tundale was the perfect example of someone who just didn't care about the rules. He was good-looking, but his life was ruled by the 7 deadly sins. He was greedy. He fell into his sleep while trying to collect a debt. He liked lustful things and was very disrespectful of religion, refusing to even carry a priest's blessed weapons. On that important day, Tundale collapses. His soul is violently pulled from his body. For 3 full days and nights, a time that mirrors the time Christ spent in the tomb, his body lay still. His family cried, the priests prayed, but his soul is immediately met by a scary guide, a bright but serious guardian angel. This part is key. Tundale is stripped of all his fun, worldly things, and is forced to face the massive result of his earthly money problems and bad habits. This is the main engine of the whole vision. He has to answer for his life. Fact check moment. The 12th century was a time when the church was trying hard to bring people back to religion in Europe. Stories like the Vision of Tundale were important tools used by the church to make people live better lives and give money to charity, proving that even the worst sinner could be saved by fear. What exact, physical, and terrifying challenge was waiting for the greedy man who dropped dead trying to get his money back? Tundale's hell is special because it has a detailed building plan. It's not just random fire, it's a perfect system. This organized structure is what made the story so easy to understand and believe for ordinary people who were used to strict rules in their towns and kingdoms. The angel takes Tundale to the first great test, the one that became instantly famous, the Bridge of Dread, the sin. This danger was kept for people who broke their religious promises or were famously unhelpful to others. Specificity. The bridge is described with shocking precision. It goes over a burning valley and is 7 inches wide, just enough to fit a foot, and several miles long, covered in slippery goo. The story stresses the scary physical truth. Tundale must walk on it barefoot, terrified of falling into the deep hole below where devils wait. Specificity. The real pain is that he must cross it while carrying his neighbor's cow on his back, a punishment for stealing, forcing him to carry the actual weight of his crime. The frozen lake of the unchaste. The sin, lust, and adultery. The torment. The lake quickly switches between blazing, burning fire and blinding, freezing ice. Tundale is thrown into it, his body violently swinging between 2 terrible pains. This new idea, using extreme cold as a major punishment, was a shocking surprise to people in warm Europe who usually thought of hell as only being hot. This organized cruelty gave the priests a ready-made picture show of damnation for their Sunday talks. But if these terrors were just for the average bad person, what unbelievably horrible fate was saved for killers and traitors? The vision is full of chilling numbers and counts, turning simple ideas about sin into terrifying statistics. Tundale is forced to count and face the huge number of people who are damned. He is shown the Prince of Darkness himself lying chained on a hot grill, constantly hurt by 1,000 devils who swarm him. This is the simple organization of hell, a huge office full of eternal suffering. Then comes maybe the most shocking sight, the beast with the 1,000 throats. The monster is described as being so gigantic that its black, smoky mouth could swallow whole cities. It has 1,000 necks, each one constantly eating the souls of the damned, only to throw them up and eat them again. Tundale is almost eaten by this beast, escaping only when his angel guide steps in. The story makes it clear that the number of souls constantly being eaten by the beast is too high for any human mind to understand. This level of detail, the 7-inch bridge, the 3-day trip, the 1,000-throated beast, stuck firmly in the public mind. It answered the normal person's urgent question: what exactly is waiting for me? The answer was a terrifying, numbered certainty. But did Tundale's trip end in fire and ice? Or was there a surprising turn that made him famous forever? The angel, happy that Tundale has been scared enough, offers him a quick look at heaven and paradise. This is a needed change in the story because the whole point of the vision is repentance. Tundale sees the final reward, a beautifully walled city in the sky. He sees good people, saints, and famous sinners who had changed their ways, including the very people Tundale had once looked down on. Most importantly, he sees the souls of people he had personally hurt on earth, now living in peace while he shivered in fear. This final feeling of shame makes his change complete. After a scary reunion with his body, Tundale wakes up. The change is instant. The former bad guy becomes a monk and a penitent, living his days in extreme poverty, wearing simple clothes, and spending his life telling his story. His story wasn't just a dream, it was a proven story of a changed man. The Tundale effect. His popularity was huge. Over 160 copies of the Latin book still exist, and it was translated into at least 15 European everyday languages, including German, French, and Icelandic, making it one of the most widely read books outside of the Bible itself. It became the go-to teaching book for preachers who needed real, easy-to-see horrors to fight against the lack of faith at the time. Impressive question. Line. This terrifying vision was an instant, huge hint, but was it just a popular story? Or did it actually give the structural plan for Western literature's greatest ever trip into hell? The truly unique and interesting legacy of the Vision of Tundale lies in its link to the greatest poem ever written about the afterlife. We all know Dante's Inferno, written in the early 14th century, with its 9 perfectly organized circles of hell. The Vision of Tundale shows us a fascinating look, not just at what people in the Middle Ages believed, but at how they learned to be afraid, by turning the complicated idea of God's judgment into a simple, built structure, by giving the specific 7-inch width of a bridge and the exact number of throats on a monster. Brother Marcus made Tundale's nightmare feel like a terrifying reality. Tundale's journey proves a deep truth about storytelling. It shows that sometimes the most important ideas in human history come not from professors or holy men, but from a single, powerful, and totally terrifying story, told by a man who decided to change his life. Did Tundale really see the map of the next life? Or did he simply write the best-selling religious scary story of the Middle Ages? That's a question you need to answer for yourself. Tell us in the comments, which of Tundale's specific physical tortures, the 7-inch bridge, the frozen lake, or the thousand-throated beast do you find the most scary? Let us know below, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into the world's strangest myths and legends.